Buenas tardes. My apologies if to my Spanish colleagues, my pronunciation of your language is limited. The only pronunciation that I have practiced over the years is dos cerveza, por favor. I'd like to talk to you about facilities management as a professional discipline. If you believe that facilities management is a strategic professional discipline, raise your hand. Okay, more than half the audience. The interesting thing about that is it doesn't really matter what we think. It matters what the people out there think. And that's what I'd like to talk about. So do we, from an internal perspective, believe that we are a strategic professional discipline? Of course we do. But we would say that because that's why we're all here. We're all here to promote what we do in our day-to-day jobs and for our organizations. However, does our opinion really matter? I'm going to show you the results of an external survey that took place about 2-3 months ago on the most respected professional disciplines in the world. The top 10, at least, in 2016. Number 10, that surprised me, a photojournalist. Any of you photojournalists in your past careers? Number 9, athletes. There might be one here that you might not have wanted to see, given the Real Madrid supporters. Engineers. Glad the engineers are there somewhere. The military, and I think we certainly do all respect the military for the jobs that we ask them to do on our behalf in different parts of the world. That's a surprising. We respect our judges. We respect the people who look after our legal systems and bring law and order into whatever we do in the world. A sea captain, being somebody that spent many of my early years of my career in the Merchant Navy, it's actually the chief engineer that should be there, but he's the one that gets all the glory. Pilot. So yes, we do respect the pilots, especially these guys that bring us to and fro when we come to these conferences, and the firefighters who most certainly look after us in our time of need, wherever and whenever that may be. And the doctors, of course we do. We all need them at some time in our life. But who do you think? Is anybody give me a guess? Who's number one? What's the first most respected professional discipline considered by about 1,000 people in the world today? You wish. Okay, it's the astronaut. They're out of this world, but so are we sometimes, you know, in the jobs that we do. The trouble is, we're not there. So what I want to really talk to you around is, should we be taken seriously? All of these people, if you look at the different, well, most of them at least, how they get to end up working in those disciplines is sometimes a very structured, educational, sophisticated route in order to demonstrate their competency and that of the discipline in which they specialize. And that's the messages that we need to take on board and try and understand what we need to do to get ourselves up there on that list, wherever that may be. So, from an external perspective, why would they take us seriously? A professional discipline, especially in emerging markets, and I think most of the countries in Europe have been through this. The original perception of facilities management is we're all cleaning companies or janitors or we do security guards or whatever. And I think most of us in this room believe it should be a bit more than that. And the fact that that's not how we're perceived is our problem. It's not anybody else's problem. And we will never achieve that without education And I'm glad to say, in terms of Europe, we have led the world in terms of education in our discipline, and we should all be very proud of that. It won't be respected without the appropriate competencies, and they can vary widely depending on the organizations within which we work. And we have to demonstrate the added value that we bring. Now, you've just heard of some case studies where we're beginning to do that much, much better as a discipline, as a professional discipline. And it's until we do that, we will never be taken seriously. But I believe the other thing is around standards. And I've said this comment before. I attended a real estate property management conference about 12, 15 years ago in Barcelona, as it happened. And it was a real estate property management conference, nothing to do with FM. I was the only guy there rabbiting on about facilities management. When I said to them, tongue-in-cheek, that actually real estate and property management is a subset of facilities management, I thought it was quite amusing, but nobody in the room seemed to take it that way. But the interesting thing was that at the end of that conference, a very senior person in real estate, corporate real estate, said to me, "You're right. It is a subset of facilities management. But until you guys get standards that we can all understand and are consistent around the world, nobody's going to take you seriously." And that was the spark that started my journey on the standards world. I want to share some of that journey with you. And trust me, the standards world and creating standards is not the most exciting thing that we will ever do. Facilities management is, because every day is a new challenge, and it is exciting and it's very, very rewarding. But I started down this journey some time ago. In 2003, again, I'm glad to say, in Europe, we led the way. We created CEN-TC 348 to develop the first international standards in facilities management. We then went on to publish over the period of 2006 to 2012 what we call the Magnificent Seven. EN 15221-1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And if you haven't seen those, you should have by now. They've been out for a long, long time, over 10 years. And every time I ask conferences, how many have you read one of these standards? There's a handful of hands go up. We need these, and we need to all know they exist, because we need to promote them and use them. They're guides, they're useful to us in doing our job. The next thing that happened on the back of our success in Europe, we created the ISO Technical Committee 267 for facilities management. So suddenly we had managed to convince the International Standards Organization that this discipline of ours was strategically important. And it was a fight. They did not want to allow us to create a committee. But we won that fight. In 2017, we have published on the 31st of March, last month, the first two international standards in facilities management. And that's the name, 41011 and 41012. If you don't know about them, get to know about them. They are out there today, they're available. Can we put the lights up for just a moment, please? Whoever's in control of the lights.
The lights, please.
Or is he gone for tea? Okay, can I ask, is Olaf in the room? Olaf, stand up. Look at this man at the back here with the white hair. He's still got some hair. Olaf is the guy that delivered the ISO standard 41012, which is about, I'm going to tell you about it in a moment, which is about strategic sourcing and FM agreements. An excellent document, and Olaf and his team have delivered that for your benefit, not for his. So thank you, Olaf. This is the one I'm going to talk about. If I don't get, I probably will get a red card in a moment, but
please proceed.
ISO, oh, you give me a red card already?
No. done anything. I don't know.
41001, if I get the information back,
Your
I'll show you
assistant,
it,
please.
is a management system standard. Most of you will be aware of the standard for quality, ISO 9001. Well, we have created a standard for the equivalent of 9001 in facilities management.
With a presentation of that.
I'll keep talking until I get my slides back.
Hopefully.
This standard is going to be published in February next year. Okay, so it's on its way. A lot of hard work has been done. This standard is going out for public consultation in the 15th of May. Okay, so if you're a member of EuroFM, if you're a member of other organizations within professional associations, etc., you will be able to get access to review that standard and give us feedback before we actually publish it. So let me try and catch up here. I've got to get another 5 minutes for this, Mr. Moderator.
Okay. For sure.
So the Magnificent Seven, if you've never heard of them, there they are. Okay? And these were the European standards that were published some considerable time ago. I'm not going to linger on that. A lot of hard work was done by your peer group here in Europe to establish this, and they have been very well received in different parts of the world. The ISO standards is what I want to focus on. So that's the committee that Olaf and I work with. And within that committee today, there are 42 countries participating. Now, I'm here in part to reach out to you. I'm just going to show you who those 42 countries are, because it's very, very important. An international standard is only as good as the input that it receives. Creating standards in ISO or CEN or in your national standards bodies is all about consensus of opinion and often about compromise. So an opinion about any particular aspect in Spain might be different than an opinion in any particular aspect in Greece. It doesn't matter. It's about sharing those perspectives. It's about making sure that we understand each other, because collectively, as a very small community, because that's what we still are, we need to try and come up with something that can work for everyone. And that is the standards process that we have to follow. Now, I got a bit of a reaction from over here. What country is it? Netherlands. The Netherlands, okay. Then I'll give you one message about Europe. After all the good work we did in the European standards, when we created the international standard, most of Europe disappeared. They didn't participate, which was crazy. We'd done so much good work over the years, and we let ourselves down a little bit about not being at the table to give our opinion and our perception. These are the countries that are what we call P countries, participating countries. Every one of those countries is entitled to send a delegate to every meeting that we ever have in that committee. You'll notice that Spain's there, but Spain doesn't turn up. So the Spanish perspective isn't there, I'm afraid, which is very disappointing for us. Do something about it. Go and talk to your national standards body and let them let you participate. The second category of countries that are involved is what is called C countries, where they're communicating countries. So they don't actually sit at the table and help us develop them, but they do get the information and they are able to comment and critique. Look at some of the countries that are on this list. FM is growing, the awareness of it, the knowledge, this hunger for knowledge is happening all over the world. When you get countries like Macau and Trinidad and Tobago interested in FM, pay attention. There's a message there. We are winning the communication. We are winning the right to be that professional discipline as long as we continue down this path in a positive way. So, I said already, this standard is published. It's out there, you can get it today. This is the one that Olaf and his team have produced for you. and it is out there and it's available today. This is a third one, which is not a standard, it's a technical report that explains a bit about who we are and what we do and why it creates some benefits. That's not published yet, but it will be shortly in a few months' time. Go out there, get them, use them. OLAF's standard is a very, very good standard and will be of great benefit to you, your teams and your organizations. So, this is the one that I want to talk a little bit more about if I'm allowed to.
Of course you are.
The 41001 standard, that's the number. It's not published yet, but bear it in mind. The structure of that standard is what you're looking at right now. Okay? It's about the context of the organizations that you are and you serve. It's about leadership in facilities management. It's about the planning, the support that you need to build into how you deliver. It's obviously about the operation, but then it's about the performance evaluation and support in the holistic manner for everybody involved in delivering good FM. Plan, Do, Check, Act is what's followed within the ISO management standards discipline. So for us, that's the plan. The operation and delivery of it is the do. The performance evaluation is the check. And then the support is go make it better. Improve it as you go along. It's never going to be perfect. You have to keep doing that, keep the cycle. So the potential journey ahead, I believe this is the biggest thing that's going to happen in FM in the last 30 years. I seriously believe that, and let me show you one of the reasons why. This information is not my information. This came from the British Standards Institution, which is the national standards body in the UK. This is all about a survey that was carried out on ISO 9001, which most of you will be familiar about. Companies that adopted it outperformed the market by 100% plus in terms of the management of what they do. In terms of finance, 55% of organizations that apply 9001 achieve cost savings. In operational of their organization, 75% boosted their performance. In terms of the services that they delivered, 75% improved customer service and loyalty. And in sales and marketing, 71% acquired new customers and retained existing clients. Now, okay, the survey is a bit old. It's back in 2011. But that is what a management system standard can achieve. So now think, if we can replicate that to any degree within our industry, look at the impact that we can have on commerce, on industry, on government, in terms of being recognized as a strategic professional discipline. My question is to all of you, every single one of you, are you going to be part of that journey? And if not, you should be. Thank you.
Thank you, Stan. A big applause for Stan.